Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show a Spring Boot application connecting to HashiCorp Vault as well as a Postgres database. And we'll see how the database credentials gets rotated. Now in every organization, there are some policies which states the database password should be changed periodically. Imagine this is done manually. If there's an admin guy sitting somewhere, he would change the password after X number of days. And as a developer, you contact the admin, get the new password, update the app config, and restart the app. This is a very cumbersome task. That's where HashiCorp Vault comes into picture. As you see in the diagram, the app here is a Spring Boot app, connects to the HashiCorp Vault, and the Vault connects to the Postgres database. Now, app needs a username and password to do the read write into the database. The way it does is the app connects to the HashiCorp Vault. The Vault connects to the database using an admin user. It generates new username and password and sends it back to the app. So the important point here is the HashiCorp configuration where it knows the admin user with which it has to connect to the Postgres and generate the new username and password to be given to the app. Moving on to the Spring Boot application, right? As you see on the screen, I have this Spring Boot application. The source code is committed into GitHub and I have provided the link in the description. So if you see the readme.md file, it has steps of the installation and configuration. So the initial step is to install Postgres. If you are on Ubuntu or Linux, you can use the first link. If you are on Windows like I am, you can use this second link to install the Postgres. Now I already have a Postgres installed. This is the SQL shell for that. Uh, so let's go ahead and set up admin user in the Postgres database. So create user admin with the password admin123. Okay, the user is created. The next step is to grant the super user privilege so that it can basically go ahead and create new users for the application. Okay, the role is altered. The next step is installing the HashiCorp Vault. You can go ahead and run these two commands. I already have HashiCorp Vault installed on my Docker desktop, and as you can see, the two pods are running. So once it's installed, let's go ahead and enable the database secrets engine. But before that, we'll have to exec into the pod. So we'll do kubectl exec-it. This will take us into the Vault container where we can start running the Vault commands. Okay, now that we are in, let's run the Vault secrets enable database. And we have a success here. Next is the Postgres secret engine configuration. So here the important thing is the connection URL. Basically it points to where the Postgres is installed. Since I'm running it from the Docker desktop, so I'm using host.docker.internal. But if you are running a Postgres somewhere else, you can give the URL accordingly. And if you see closely the username and password, it's the admin user that we created moments ago. So we have to use the same username and password here. So let's go ahead and configure this. So if you don't see any error message here, that means this command was successful. So we don't see any errors here, so we are good. Moving on, the next command is basically providing Vault with the user creation statement, right? The Vault has to know how to create the new Postgres database users. That's where this creation statement comes into picture. The main part is the grant usages. So what privileges will the newly created user have? So all those grant privileges should come in here. So based on your application, you'll have to change this accordingly, right? So let me go ahead. And before doing that, these two are the TTL configurations. So max TTL I've configured as 1 minute just for demo purposes. So what that means is after 1 minute, this database credentials would expire and a new one would be created. So let's go ahead and run this command now. Okay, it's a success. Now let's go ahead and see if everything worked, right? Another thing to note here is note the role here named my role. So keep in mind this role name that you have given because we'll have to use that in the Spring Boot application configuration. Now let's go ahead and fetch a new database user. The command for that is vault read database creds my role. So what this does is it gives you a new username and password. So if you see this username here, it's a big string. This is the username and the password here is this. If we go to the Postgres and type du to list the users, you will see the the created user listed here, right? 75789, 75789. The previous one was from my previous application, just ignore that. So 75789 is the one that is created just now. So roughly after a minute or so, it should disappear. Uh, let's try running. Okay, you see this 75789 is gone now. So basically the credentials expired and the vault deleted it from the Postgres. All right, this was about the installation and configuration. Now, you might wonder if the user gets deleted from the Postgres, how will it get rotated, right, when the actual app runs? So that's where this Java class named Vault configuration comes into picture. If you see, it's annotated with at configuration. It has auto-wired class called secret lease container. And what this lease container does is it lets us add a lease listener. So whatever lease events happen in the vault, it lets us listen to that. Two main event that we are interested in is the secret lease expired event and the secret lease created event. Now, when it's a secret lease expired event and the mode is renew, we basically request the vault to give us a rotating secret. And when the event is of type secret lease created event and the mode is rotate, that means the vault has rotated the credentials and it's time to fetch the new username and password. The way to do that is the secret lease created event has a method called get secrets. With that, we can get the username and password. And as next step, we can set that back into the Hikari data source using the get Hikari config mxbean and setting username and password on that. And as a last step, we basically soft evict all the database connections so that the new username and password takes effect. So that's how the app has the credentials rotated and it uses it to connect to the database. Okay, moving on to the configuration, the Bootstrap YAML. Here we configure how the application connects to the vault. If you see the authentication here is listed as token. So basically we provide a token to connect to the vault, but as per your project requirements, you can select the appropriate authentication for that. Since my vault is running on local Docker desktop, I have provided localhost. The port is 8200. Config lifecycle enabled. This is what enables the lease lifecycle management, right? And the database backend is enabled, and the role that is provided is a my role, which the name which we had used in running the commands a few moments back. The data source URL is the Postgres one, and since I'm running it on local, I've provided 127.0.0.1. If you have it running somewhere else, you can provide the corresponding URL here. Now, before I go ahead and run this application, it needs the Vault to be running on localhost. Since I'm running on Docker desktop, let me do a port forward. So what this basically does is it basically listens on 8200 on my local, and any request coming in there, it sends it to the Vault running on the Docker desktop. Okay, before that, I need a token, right? I forgot. So let's exec back into the Vault token create. So let me copy this token and paste it here. And let me port forward it again so the app can connect it to now. Okay, it's all set to run. Okay, as you see, it has connected to the Vault. It's doing the Hickory connection now. Okay, looks like the port was already in use. Let me kill the application. It will again try to connect to the Vault. Okay, this time as you see, the application has started. Now, in a minute, we'll start seeing the new database credentials being into effect. So let's verify what user it's using right now. So the latest, when the app started, it's using the username 76176. Now, after some time, that credentials would expire, and we would have new credentials that the app would be using. So in any moment from now, we'll start seeing logs, which will say the credentials has been rotated. Let's give it some moment. There you go. You see logs that we had in our code, and the new username it says is the one that ends in 76237. Let's verify if the new user is there in the database. You see 76237, and it matches with the one on the console. The previous one, if you see, it's no longer listed, so it's been deleted, and the connections have been soft evicted as well. So you'll see this cycle every minute. So basically, since our TTL was 1 minute, so every minute the database credentials would expire and a new one would be given back to the application so that it can do the transactions in the database. So if you see in my application, nowhere I have a API which goes to the database, but that's how it works. I mean, the Hickory connection has been updated with the new username and password. There you go. Again, you see a new username has been created, this time ending in 76297. If we see the Postgres database, we have this 76297 running. So yeah, your app would be automatically updating the DB connection with this new username and password, and every time it will make sure that it uses the newest username and password. So, so that was the demo about how to go about database rotation using Spring Boot app, HashiCorp Vault, and a Postgres database. Although it was for Postgres database, but the concept remains the same for any database that is supported by Spring Cloud Vault and HashiCorp Vault. So thanks for watching this video. Please do comment if you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this video, and have a great day. Thank you.